Alright guys, Fula coming to you with another video. I hope all is well with y'all. So, everybody knows that I'm big on boost innings on this page. Everybody knows I go for boost innings. Everybody knows that I mess with boost innings very heavy on this page. However, he's at a disadvantage. And a very bad disadvantage. He's too good. Whereas it's up to him to stay active. But at the same time, with him trying to stay active, he gets criticized for the level of competition in which he has. Now, he wants the big guns, and I believe that he can clean out the whole welterweight division. Me personally, I believe that he can clean it out. I believe that if he's making 147 comfortably, there's no reason for him to move up, and he should stay there. I don't think he hydrates that high when it comes to fight night. I don't think he's that type of dude who hydrates extra, like just goes extra on his hydration. Okay. Now, the reality of the situation, unfortunately, is the fact that while he wants to get these big guns in the ring, the unfortunate fact is he has company men that may block that from happening. One of those company men happened to be a guy by the name of Timothy Bradley, who looks like a Cyberman from Dragon Ball Z. Now, I'm going to read an article, and this article, or I'm going to take parts of this article, and then we're going to get into some talking points of the article. So, Tim Bradley feels that the highly ranked, unbeaten Jaron Boost innings doesn't do anything for Terrence Crawford, and he believes that he would get knocked out by the Nebraska native. Now, I mean, if he's the mandatory, I mean, obviously you have to serve your mandatory duties unless your mandatory trumps unification. And I think, like, honestly, the WBO enforced mandatories more than any other sanctioning body. Now, let's follow. Boost in his size, power, youth, and offensive ability would be too much for the 34-year-old Crawford in the writer's estimation. Whether that's something that, in this writer's estimation, whether that's something that Bradley wants to avoid happening is unknown. Of course he wants to avoid it happening. The crazy thing is that is not even a top-ranked fighter anymore. Terrence Crawford ain't the top-ranked fighter anymore. Unless behind the scenes he's negotiating again, and we don't know. Like, is that the case? That he's negotiating again? You know what I mean? Like, what's really the problem? Please let me know, right? Now, let me see. If Crawford can't get the fight with Spence, the best option for him is to take on Jaron Boost Ennis, 28-0, 26 KOs, because he is far better than the 6 fighters Crawford has faced since moving up to the 147-pound division 2018. Gives the name of the fighters: Kell Brooks, Sean Porter, Amir Khan, Jeff Horn, Jose Benavidez, and the Meme Machine guy. In looking at that bunch, it's fair to say that Boots Ennis is far better than any of those guys, contrary to what Bradley is saying. Boots Ennis does have a lot to offer Crawford. Of course, and I agree too. I agree, because this would be, Boots' first big test. And, with that being his big test, he'll be, you know what I mean? It would prove, like difficult, or maybe it won't. Of course, if Bradley is only focusing on the biggest money fight, Spence is obviously the way to go. But if that fight doesn't happen, who will Crawford face? And that's a good question. It doesn't look like the Spence Crawford fight is going to happen next, because Keith One-Time Thurman has been mentioned as a strong possibility for Spence to face. Maybe he can do that, Thurman would be a big name. It could be a big pay-per-view, Now, Timothy Bradley has said that Crawford versus Boots is not a great fight. What's at stake for Crawford? Obviously, that always at stake for Crawford, for both fighters, right? What's that going to do for him? Well, he gets to take away a fighter's O if he's successful. I mean, doesn't that count for something? Let me see. And he's like, what's that going to... These are Timothy Bradley's quotes. What's that going to do for him? You think that's a great fight? Really? Said Bradley, sounding cool to the idea of Boots Ennis being given a shot at Crawford, despite it being a much bigger match than the guys he's been facing. Are you crazy? Against Terrence Bud Crawford? Are you kidding me? I don't think it's a whitewash, but I think someone is going to sleep, and it ain't going to be Crawford, said Bradley, and sounding more like Terrence's guardian protector than analyst. Yeah, and this is what these people do. Like, and this is what some of these YouTube channels do too. They try their best to protect their fighters. And it's an unfortunate thing that the media buys into this. And because the media buys into this, this leads to us not getting the fights we want. You know what I mean? Because they're like protecting their fighters. And that's not cool, bro. Like, we should be able to get the fights that we want without this kind of like ducking, dodging, and things going on. But you have analysts, you have promoters, you even have trainers protecting their fighters from us getting the fights that we need. And I want to say something too. It goes on to say, y'all better put some respect on Crawford's name right now. Put some respect on my boy's name. I like Boots, but who has he fought like you going to be like, oh, he can take Crawford? Who he fought? That's what they all use for all fighters. Because we can easily say that for Caleb Plant, like who he fought. We can say that for him easily. He gets touched up in those fights, said Bradley, and failing to mention fights that Boots Ennis is supposedly getting marked up. Now, imagine Crawford touching him up. You would find a lot of boxing fans that would disagree with his view of Ennis not being a great opponent for Crawford, but who has he fought that would beat Boots Ennis during his 14-year career? Absolutely nobody. And that's a pure fact. Now, in terms of the touch up part, Boots Ennis does not get touched up. Boots Ennis takes risk, and sometimes getting hit a time or two is going to be what he pays for that risk. But he is very defensively sound. His father teaches that style. His father teaches actually a defense first style, but part of a defense first style is a high power offense, because in many instances a high power offense is better than just like a evasive defense. You know what I mean? If you have a high power offense, if you look at the fight with Chris Van Heerden, you know, Boots played the game of inches in that fight, but he still was defensively responsible. And while a lot of shots were going on the glove, they were still getting through. You know what I mean? And so I don't know what Timothy Bradley is talking about. This would be the perfect fight for Terrence Crawford. You can put that thing on pay-per-view. And unfortunately, all these Bud fans say that Terrence is too much for Boots Ennis, and that is not the truth at all. Boots Ennis is longer. Boots Ennis is younger, stronger, and he's not afraid to go to that body. You know what I mean? He doesn't headhunt. Not afraid to go body hunting. You know what I mean? So Timothy Bradley is indeed like Terrence Crawford's guardian angel, even if Terrence Crawford ain't signed a top rank anymore. So he really needs to stop and really think about what he's saying. But anyhow, man, that's all I got for now. Leave your thoughts, leave your comments. Foolish signing out, and Ja Rama.